Welcome back to the LCP Digital Learning Channel. Today, I want to talk about iOS 13. There are a ton of new features. I don't have time to go through all of them. I've chosen a few that I think are very powerful for a teacher's perspective, and I'm going to share them with you now. That way, when the update is released for students, you're going to be ready and already know all of the new features so that you're not kind of taken by surprise when the students ask you where buttons have moved and things of that nature. So let's jump right in. The first one that I think is very helpful, top right corner, if you swipe down, this is where we get to some of our settings that we've built in. But if I long press where this button is, it's going to give me the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, and the AirDrop. But what's nice is they've added, if I long press where the Wi-Fi is, I can actually see what Wi-Fi I'm on and switch between Wi-Fis. I can also do the same thing with the Bluetooth. So this is going to be helpful for you as a teacher to switch Wi-Fis quickly if you need to, but also to switch between Bluetooth devices. Okay, some of the other things that have changed are the menus. So for example, if I long press this, you can see this menu looks a lot different. I can copy, duplicate, move, get info, tag, rename, share. And when I share, you can also see the sharing menu looks a little bit different. When I AirDrop, it's going to bring up its own AirDrop menu. I can also scroll over here to get more, and my more looks a little bit different. So this menu is a little bit different than it used to look like. One of my favorite updates for iOS 13 is Safari. I love the new Safari because it is treating it just like a desktop browser. You don't have to worry about websites going to the mobile browser or not really working so well. So now that I'm in Safari, you can see I'm actually in Google Slides. And so what's nice about this is all of the settings that you're used to using on your desktop are available to you in Slides. So unlike the Slides, Docs, and Sheets app on the iPad, who are missing a lot of those really rich features, all of those features are now accessible if you go to Google Docs, Google Slides, or Google Sheets from within Safari. What also you'll notice is right here at the top right-hand corner, there is a download button. What's great about this is just like on my computer, if I download something, even a zip file, it will go into my files system in a download folder just like on the desktop. Then I can go to that folder and open it in whatever app I need to open it in. So while I'm in Safari, let me show you the next feature I really love, which is split screen. Now what's different is you can now split screen the same app. So right now I'm in Safari. Let me go ahead and bring up another Safari and split screen. So now I'm on Safari using Google, and I'm on Safari in Slides. Now let me look and see, maybe I need a picture of an apple. So let me do an apple JPEG, images, and maybe I want this apple right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drag this apple over, drop it in. And so now I have actually drag and dropped from Safari into Safari. So this is gonna be very powerful, being able to split screen the same app. Split screen Safari, you can split screen two different notes. So if you have a note that you're keeping and you need to drag and drop some of the features between two different notes, you can also do that as well. The next part of the split screen, I'm gonna pull up, if I touch Safari, I'm already in Safari and it's gonna give me a window. I can actually top right corner, touch the plus button. It's gonna give me another Safari window. So maybe let me go to Mac Rumors. I know they just released Catalina, which please don't update yet. And maybe I wanna read this, but I didn't wanna leave that split screen that I'm working on, but let me go back to that split screen. I'm actually gonna touch Safari. It's gonna show me the two Safari windows I've been working in. Let me go back to the one where I was split screening like this. So this allows me to go in. Now, if I long press on Safari, it's gonna give me the option to show all windows. So I can actually show all windows. Maybe I wanna make another tab. Maybe this one I need to do some learning. So let me go to url.lcisd.net/digital learning. And maybe I wanted to watch some of the videos that I've made for you guys so I can catch up on some of the updates. And then I can go back and forth again, touching Safari, so I can set up multiple windows to work in and not lose track of what I was doing. All right, the next one that I love that has to do along the same lines as split screen, but this time it's gonna be little windows floating in the front. So what I can do is maybe I'm inside of Keynote and I know I'm gonna need to bring in some pictures from Safari, I'm gonna need to bring in some pictures from my photos, and maybe I'm gonna need to bring in my notes so that I can keep track of what I was working on. So let me swipe up. When I bring up Safari, instead of going split screen, I'm just gonna keep it where it's floating on front like this and drop it. And it's also gonna let me choose which Safari window I wanted to use. I wanted to use those apples. I also know I'm gonna need some photos in a second. And I also know I am going to need my note to refer to. So now you can see I have my photos, so I can come in here and pull in my photos. I have my file system, I've got Safari, and I've got my notes. So now that I want those cards back, I'm going to swipe from the right-hand side over from the right. It's going to bring up all my cards. If I swipe at the bottom of those cards, I can switch between the different cards I had up. So let me see, I'm going to bring in a digital citizenship picture for my camera roll, swipe over to Safari, bring in one of the apples that I want. Maybe I want this one. I'm going to drag that over. And then maybe in my notes that I had here, I needed to bring in some text. So let me drag that text over into this as well. So now I'm able to bring in all of the stuff that I needed. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to swipe the top over and get rid of those cards. So this allows me to multitask without actually ever having to leave Keynote. The last one I want to talk about is Files. Now, Files is a lot like Google Drive, but it's with your iPad and your iCloud. So I'm going to come into Files. And yours probably looks something like this, which this is what we normally think of files as, these big folder icons. Well, if you swipe down just a little bit on your screen, top right corner, you're going to get some settings that are view settings. I'm going to choose the one that looks like little columns. This is going to now make it look like I see it on my computer. So let's see. Let me go into Keynote, and then maybe LCISD and some examples I was working on. So you can see I can go all the way into my nested folders. If I long press on one of these, it gives me lots of options where I can quick look, tag it, share it, and I can even zip files from this system now instead of having to go to my computer. All right, another feature I really love about Files is maybe I want in this folder, I have a paper that I need to scan into a PDF. I can do that directly from the Files app. So top left corner, you're going to see the 3 dots. When I click this 3 dots, I can say Scan Documents. It's going to bring up my camera, so we'll pretend this is a document. Take a picture, keep that scan. Now, if I need to scan multiple pages, I can continue to just take pictures of those pages. When I'm done, I'm going to press Save. And this is going to convert that picture into a PDF document that's going to end up looking like this, but if it was pages, it'd be PDFs. Speaking of PDFs, let me talk about my very last feature that I think is very powerful on your iPad iOS 13. The last feature has to do with creating PDFs and screenshots. So normally when we would screenshot, we would touch the home button and the off button at the same time, and it would screenshot. You can still do that, but if you have an Apple Pencil, you can screenshot from swiping on the bottom right-hand corner diagonally up. So I'm going to swipe up. It screenshots. I can either screenshot the specific screen, or here's what I love, full page. Now this has screenshotted this entire page document that I had. So now I can actually save the entire article for use later. So maybe I need to mark this up and say, read later. And maybe 2 fingers scroll. Let me circle some of the stuff I think is important. Yes, that's awesome. And then when I'm done, top left corner, I'm going to press done, save PDFs to file. I can, inside my file system, maybe put this in learning and save. Okay, I already have done this, so I'm going to replace that. Now this is saving that PDF in my file system that I can use later. So that screenshot works in any screen. Even on the home screen, I can swipe up, and now I've screenshotted just like that. Done. I'm going to delete that one. Okay, so I've gone over a whole lot of features on iOS, and that is just a few of the multitude of resources that have been added to iOS 13. Highly recommend you go to apple.com and do some studying yourself if you're interested in some of those other features that have been added. If you have any other questions, please reach out to your digital learning specialist on your campus or email help@lcisd.net. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.